Have you ever noticed how some people instinctively flinch when someone opens their arms to hug them? While most melt into a warm grip, they seem stuck, as if faced with a social code they can't decipher. The arms are stiff, the smile is forced, and the whole body sends a clear signal: please no. But is this just coldness? Or is there a silent language behind this gesture that we insist on ignoring? Before any judgment, it's important to say, there's nothing wrong with not liking hugs. Not everyone needs physical contact to feel connected. Some simply prefer other forms of affection: a sincere look, a deep conversation, a gesture of help at the right time. And that doesn't make them less affectionate, just different. But when this discomfort goes beyond preference and becomes an almost physical reaction, the story is often more complex than it seems. Perhaps, in childhood, these hugs were imposed. Give auntie a hug while the child wrinkled her nose, but no one asked if she wanted one. The body has learned, affection is not a choice, it is an obligation. Or the hugs were accompanied by lies: a father who squeezed hard before disappearing for days, a friend who hugged just to ask for a favor later. Over time, the brain came to associate touch with emotional traps. If I get any closer, I could get hurt. And so, the hug, which should have been a refuge, became mine territory. There are also those for whom the problem is not the hug itself, but the invasion of personal space. People with high sensory sensitivity can feel every press of the fingers, every close breath, like an overload. It's as if the brain is shouting, "That's too much information at once." For them, a hug is not comfort, it is chaos. And it's no surprise that many of these people are introverted or neurodivergent. Their nervous systems simply process the world more intensely. But here's the most fascinating detail: this aversion to hugs can hide a unique way of loving. Those who avoid physical contact often compensate with a rare emotional depth. They are those people who really listen, who remember the little details you told you months ago, who are present even without laying a finger on you. For them, affection doesn't need skin, it dies in the voice, in the eyes, in the actions that speak louder than any squeeze. If you are like this, no, you are not cold, nor distant, nor difficult to deal with. You just understood that affection doesn't have an instruction manual. Maybe you learned that respect for your body is more important than other people's expectations. And that, my friend, is not a defect, it is a form of self-knowledge that many will never achieve. The next time someone reaches out to you and you feel that lump in your throat, don't force yourself. A wave, a smile, a thanks, but I'm fine are enough answers. Because at the end of the day, the best hug is the one that doesn't suffocate, whether it's real or just the right amount. And you, how do you feel about hugs? Comment here if you also prefer other forms of affection. Share with those who need to hear that it's okay to say no. And if you want more reflections like this, stay here, we always have a safe space for you. Until next time. Sparkles. The silence that speaks louder than any word. Have you ever noticed how some people have the ability to fill a space without saying anything? It's not absence, it's not indifference, it's a presence so intense that it doesn't need noise. While the world screams for attention, they breathe calm, as if they know that the most important things don't need an announcement. And no, that's not cold. It is a form of language. Think of the people you know like this, those who don't need to fill the air with words to prove they are there. They really listen, not just what you say, but what that you stop saying. They remember the tone of your voice on that call at 3 a.m, the way you held the coffee cup with both hands the last time you saw each other. For them, affection is not a script, it's a tune that doesn't depend on a script. Maybe they learned early on that sometimes too many words are just a way of filling in holes. That an okay said with teary eyes is worth more than a speech of consolation. Or that shared silence, one in which two people stand side by side without rushing to break it, is the rarest type of intimacy. That doesn't mean they don't feel it. It means they feel on another frequency. While some need tight hugs to connect, they feel the warmth at the right distance, in a look that lasts a second too long, in a message sent exactly when you needed it most, in a memory that arrives without warning, as if they had a map of your invisible dates. And there's something that few people understand. These people are not absent, they are present in a way that most have not been trained to recognize. In a world that confuses intensity with volume, they choose to be like the moon, they don't need to shout to illuminate what is dark. If you're like this, you've probably heard that you're difficult, distant, or even arrogant. But the truth? You just understood that some things are too sacred to be diluted with idle talk. That respect for one's own rhythm is not selfishness, it is self-preservation. And that, deep down, the greatest act of love is not to invade, but to wait for the other person to open the door in their own time. The next time someone says you don't open up, remember, not all flowers have to bloom in front of an audience. Some save their perfume for those who know how to smell slowly. And you? Have you ever felt misunderstood because you prefer silence to chatter? Comment here if you also believe that some connections don't need words. Share with those who need to hear that being present is not the same as making noise. And if this text made sense to you, save it to your favorites, because we always go back to those who understand us without explanations. Until the next reflection. Or until the next silence is worth 1,000 words. Crescent moon. The silence that speaks loudest. Have you ever noticed how some people carry a silence so dense that it feels like a hug? While the world screams for attention, they choose to speak only when the word weighs more than the air between two people. It's not indifference. It's a form of love that doesn't fit into ready-made phrases. They are not cold. These are bonfires that burn from the inside, and only show the flame to those who have the patience to wait for the wood to catch fire. Because not all heat needs to be seen to be felt. Have you ever been called difficult for not filling silences with empty words? Well, no, the world confuses loneliness with selection. And you? You just chose not to dilute your essence in conversations that don't feed. There is ancient wisdom in these silences. Like rivers that run deep without making a sound, or stars that don't need to announce their light. Those who truly understand do not require explanations, they feel the temperature of your presence without needing a thermometer. Have you ever noticed how the most interesting people are those who don't need to prove that they are interesting? But be careful, this silence is not a wall. It's a half-open door. And only those who know how to knock respectfully, without forcing the handle, enter. Because some souls do not give themselves in ready-made packages, they reveal themselves in crumbs of trust, collected over time. Have you ever been that crumb to someone? Or have you ever met someone who knew how to wait for the seasons without complaining about winter? The next time you're told you can't open, remember, a safe isn't any less valuable because it's locked. Treasure doesn't disappear just because it's not on display. And if someone doesn't have the patience to discover the combination, the problem isn't their secret, it's someone else's rush. Comment. Here. Do you also believe that some connections are like night gardens, they only bloom when the sun sets and silence takes over? Share with those who need to hear that being whole is not the same as being exposed. And if this text resonated with you, save it to your favorites, because the best truths are the ones we read again when life gets too noisy. Until the next reflection. Or until the next silence that is worth more than all the words in the world. Milky Way. Why does this format work? 1. Visceral metaphors, fires that burn from within, night gardens, activate the imagination and make the abstract tangible. 2. Questions that invite introspection. Have you ever been that crumb to someone? The reader stops and reflects, increasing engagement time. 3. Contrast between the noisy world and the valuable silence creates immediate identification with those who feel outside the norm. 4. Final punchline. Being whole is not the same as being exposed, potential to be highlighted and shared. 5. Emotional CTA, save in favorites for when life gets noisy, associates the content with a moment of future need, increasing the chances of a return. Tip to apply. Use nature as a metaphor, rivers, stars, seasons, universalizes the message and makes the text timeless. Transform disabilities into superpowers, it doesn't open, it's a valuable safe, empowers the reader. End with a poetic image, silence that is worth 1,000 words, leaves a taste of I want more. Challenge for you. Write a text about why some people are slow to respond to messages using 1. A metaphor of nature, e.g. like trees that only bear fruit in the right season. 2. A question that makes the reader question themselves, e.g. have you ever stopped to think that other people's haste doesn't have to be your urgency? 3. A final punchline that can become a sticker or caption, e.g. replying late isn't rude, it's respecting one's own pace. Expected result. a text that validates, intrigues, and empowers those who feel pressured by the instantaneity of the digital world. Rocket. Why do some people take a long time to respond to messages? 1. The nature metaphor, trees and seasons. Imagine a centuries-old fig tree. It doesn't bear fruit because you shake it or beg it. She offers them when the season is ripe, when the sun has warmed enough, when the rain has watered its roots, when time, not haste, has dictated the rhythm. Some people are like these trees. They don't respond because they don't call you, but because your internal station hasn't arrived yet. They don't ignore it. They mature. And when the answer comes, it is like a sweet fruit, late, but nutritious. Have you ever stopped to think that other people's haste doesn't need to be your urgency? That perhaps, in the silence between a message sent and another answered, something much more important is happening than you imagine. 2. What happens in the silence, the invisible factory? While you wait for the response, they may be sewing thoughts together, like someone who mends a torn idea before showing it to the world. Filtering emotions, because some words, when said quickly, come out wrong like coffee brewed without a sieve. Prioritizing the present, yes, they can be living instead of typing about living. The digital world has convinced us that delay is rude. But what if it's the opposite? What if responding late is an act of respect with yourself, with time, with the quality of what will be said? A wait is not a no. It's a wait and I'll make it worth it. 3. The myth of instantaneity, the already trap. We live in the era of already. Have you seen it? Stories. Have you liked it yet? Posts. Have you answered yet? Messages. But the already is the biggest thief in depth. He steals. Reflection. Hasty answers are like microwave food, it warms, but does not nourish. Authenticity. Those who respond immediately often say what the other wants to hear, not what they really feel. The mystery. And without mystery, there is no desire. Not in people, not in conversations. Dangerous question. Do we confuse efficiency with anxiety? How about if, instead of demanding answers, we learned to trust in other people's times, like someone who plants a seed and knows that the earth knows best when to sprout? 4. The superpower of it'll take me a while, but I'll get there. People who are slow to respond generally have these qualities. Heavy checkmark accurate emotional filter, they don't throw words to the wind. Heavy checkmark real presence, when they are with you, they are real, not sharing attention with screens. Heavy checkmark answers that are worth the wait because they were thought out, not just typed. They are not slow. They are selective. And in a world of constant noise, selectivity is a revolutionary luxury. 5. The big lie, and the truth that hurts. We think that responding quickly is being polite. But the truth is, being polite means not letting the other person down, and they don't, they just choose the moment. Being polite means not turning your anxiety into someone else's obligation. Being polite means understanding that not all silence is disinterest, sometimes, it is preparation for a response that deserves to be heard. The world needs less automatic okay and more I'll think about it. It needs fewer reactions and more responses. 6. The question nobody asks, but you should. What are you missing by demanding immediate answers? The chance to be surprised. The best things come when we least expect them. The exercise of patience, which, ironically, is what is most lacking in an instantaneous world. The opportunity to ask yourself, do I also need to learn to take my time? 7. Final phrase to save, or turn into a sticker. Replying late is not bad manners. It's respect for one's own rhythm, for the conversation that deserves time, and the idea that some things, like a hug, a forgiveness, or a sincere response, they cannot be rushed. 8. Call to action, for those who made it this far. If you identified yourself, or know someone like this, save this text for when the world speeds up on you. Share with those who need to hear that delay is not wrong, it is human. And if you want more reflections like this, follow me and we'll go slowly, but in depth. Until next time. Or rather, even when the season is ripe. Tree sparkles. Why does this text work? 1. Nature metaphor, fig tree seasons, universalizes the theme. 2. Reflective questions engage the reader to question their own habits. 3. Positive reinterpretation. Delay equals superpower, empowers those who feel judged. 4. Poetic final phrase viral, potential for sticker caption. 5. Emotional CTA. Save it for when the world picks up speed, increases the perceived value of the content. Extra tip. Use bold and line breaks to give visual rhythm to the text, making it easier to read on social media. Rocket. Taking time isn't a lack of rhythm, it's dancing to music that only you hear. And what song is this? It's not urgent notifications, nor artificial deadlines, nor likes that require an immediate response. It is the slow symphony of things that mature at the right time, the idea that needs silence to be born, the decision that only makes sense after doubt, the love that is not declared in the heat of the moment, but in the stillness of a shared coffee years later. The hurried world calls this procrastination. But what if it is, in fact, an act of poetic rebellion? One way of saying, I refuse to live in fast-forward mode when life is best enjoyed in slow motion. Think about the things that are worth it: an aged wine, a friendship cultivated, a book reread. None of them were done in a hurry. None of them needed to be. The science of not yet, or why your brain knows more than you. Neuroscientists have a name for this: creative incubation. It's that moment when you stop forcing the solution and suddenly the answer comes to you while you're washing the dishes. Or look out the window. The brain is not idle, is working behind the scenes, connecting dots that rushing would otherwise miss. The myth of productivity. Society glorifies doing it quickly, but studies show that 80% of great inventions, from the theory of relativity to Post-it, came about in moments of distraction or long breaks. The cost of haste. Decisions made under urgency are 3x more likely to be regretted, according to research by Harvard Business Review. Taking time often saves emotional energy. The wisdom of slow thinkers. People who take time to respond tend to have greater emotional intelligence. Study from the University of Rochester. It's not slowness, it's deep processing. So, the next time someone says you take too long, respond: I'm not delaying. I'm letting the answer ripen, like a fruit that, if picked unripe, will never give its true flavor. What are we really rushing for? A list to reflect on. If we stop to observe, we will see that haste is an illusionist. It makes us believe that we are wasting time, when in fact we are losing essence. See what's left behind when we run too fast. Heavy checkmark the important questions. Do I really want this? They quickly respond with the first yes. Those who delay wait for the answer to come from their chest, not from their watch. Heavy checkmark the details that make the difference. A hug given in a hurry doesn't warm up. A hastily written message can hurt. Quality hides in the seconds that rush steals. Heavy checkmark the magic of chance. The best stories start with I wasn't looking, but. People in a hurry don't have time for the unexpected. Heavy checkmark the right to change your mind. Those who respond quickly are stuck with the first version of themselves. Those who take time allow their opinions to evolve, and that is not weakness, it is a lively intellect. Heavy checkmark the art of saying I don't know. In a world that demands immediate responses, admitting that you need time is an act of courage. How do you know if you're delaying or just afraid? Here's the crucial difference. Delay, healthy; procrastinate, out of fear. You feel peace in the process. You feel guilty all the time. Waiting adds value, e.g. a well-planned project. Postponement drains energy, e.g. avoiding an important call. You trust timing. You doubt yourself. The end result is worth the wait. You regret not acting sooner. Quick test. Ask yourself, if I knew no one was going to judge me, would I still wait? Yes, you are taking your time by choice. No, you are procrastinating out of fear. The solution? If it's fear, break it down into microactions. Answering I'll think about it and get back to you by X day already relieves the pressure. If it's a choice, defend your pace. Say, I'd rather be late than empty. The manifesto of those who take time, for you to print and stick on your wall. 1. My time is not a debt to other people's haste. 2. Answering I'll think about it is a right, not an excuse. 3. The best things in my life have no expiration date. 4. If my calm bothers you, The problem is with their clock, not with my heart. 5. I'm not slow. I'm anti-superficial. 6. Rushing an answer is like plucking a flower before it blooms. You get a bud, but you lose the beauty. 7. If delay was wrong, the seasons would not exist. 8. My patience is my greatest weapon against a world that wants everything yesterday. 9. I don't procrastinate. I incubate. 10. When my time comes, it will be worth the wait, and anyone who doesn't know how to wait will miss out on the best. For those who got this far, the secret invitation. If this text resonated with you, do this now. 1. Save this manifesto, or write your own. 2. Send it to that friend who always demands a response, with "I love you, but my time is my own." 3. Try taking your time on purpose this week. Leave an email in draft for 24 hours, walk 10% slower. Chew each bite as if it were your last. 4. Tell me in the comments, what did you stop rushing and gain quality? I read everything, it takes me a while, but I read it winking face. And if you want more reflections like this, which are not to be consumed quickly, but to be swallowed slowly, follow me. Around here, we take a deep breath before responding. Until next time. Or rather, even when the response is mature enough to not need excuses. Seedling hourglass with flowing sand, because some things, like a seed, only sprout when we stop digging the ground to see if they have already been born.